All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barak Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachak Kodash. Welcome to the live lesson. The name of this one is Isaiah, the 60th chapter. This is a thought that came to me last night going over this chapter, because pretty much, this chapter mostly focuses on the kingdom of heaven and the future of these nations. And these are scriptures that these so-called Christians, they'll go into the Old Testament when they think it benefits them. But for the most part, most of them don't want to touch the Old Testament because they said it was done away with, which is not. All right. When you go to the book of Isaiah 13:52, it speaks about, a man bringing out of his treasures things both old and new. So you need both the Old Testament and the New Testament, because the Old Testament and the New Testament go together like a hand in a glove. This is why when Yahushai was on the scene, the apostles, the men of the Lord, they pretty much were quoted out of the Old Testament because that's all they had available at the time. So now, that we have both the Old and New Testament, that's the perfect combination. All right, so we're going to start off here. Like I said, this is an example of a jump cut video. A jump cut chapter in the Bible, because it speaks about slavery, it speaks about waking up, it speaks about slavery. It jump cuts to the chariots, then it comes back, to captivity. And this captivity will be in the kingdom of heaven. This is the future of all of these nations, beginning with the Edomites on down. So we're going to start off in Isaiah 60, verse 1. It says, "Arise and shine, for thy light is come." Right. Yahushua came 2,000 years ago. He is the light. He passed the light, the torch, to the Apostle Peter and the rest of the apostles, which in turn passed it on to everybody else. He brought it to the Apostle Paul. And that is the light that we're still teaching and bearing to this very day. 2023, the hopeful year that all the prophecies in the scriptures are fulfilled. All right, and this light, it says, "And the glory of the Lord is risen, upon thee," because this is the glory. Because what this is magnifying Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, introducing Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and destroying this place, establish the new kingdom on the planet Earth, which is a kingdom that is ruled in righteousness. All right? It says, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth," and that happened at one point. The earth was under total darkness. It still is, but it's not under darkness for the elect, because the Lord has caused the elect to wake up. At one time, like the scriptures say, they wandered after the beast. The beast being Esau and his whole system, with all of the different empires that ruled from the Greeks all the way into the present. And they, during the Renaissance period, pretty much put a dark veil over the earth and over the people. But the Lord allows certain ones of us to wake up, because of the anointing, because of the truth, right? And gross darkness to people, because the majority of people on the planet Earth are still under that veil of darkness. But the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Right, and this is why sometimes you see people looking at us a little crazy, and you're thinking like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Why are they looking at me like that? But it's because they see something, but they just can't put their finger on it. They can't explain it, So it goes on to say now in the third verse, because when the transition is Esau's world to the kingdom of heaven, is going to be under total different rulership, right? It says, "And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and the king." Try this again, because Satan is he's just adamant and messing with the feeds. So it says, "But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains." Right, and we're seeing that happening right now. We're in the last days. house is being established, right? And it's being established and published throughout, in all nations, so through the internet. All right? It says, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. Yeah, because eventually all nations are going to flow unto this. In the kingdom of heaven, all nations will flow unto it. They will learn our ways. You also have Israelites that are scattered among these nations, which those particular nations that they were scattered among, but their spirit is the spirit of an Israelite, because you had Israelites that left their seed throughout all of these regions. And many nations shall say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, right? Because the nations will learn our ways. You have to remember, every time we were in captivity under these nations, we were forced to follow their laws, statutes, and commandments. So they're going to learn our ways. They're going to learn the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And we will be a nation, the men will be a nation of priests that are going to teach these nations. All right? And we will walk in his paths, for the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. It says, and he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. Why? Because of the wickedness that they've done to his people, the nation of Latinos and Native American Indians. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into and others. And their spears into pruning hooks. So they're going to take all those weapons and they're going to convert them into agricultural weapons. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And this is how we know that those people that years when they were supposedly established. So let's go back to Isaiah chapter 60. So Isaiah chapter 60 verse 3, and Gentiles shall come to thy light, and the kings to the brightness of thy rising, right? Because we're going to be reestablished on the earth. The reestablishing of our nation is happening right now. The flock of the Lord's pasture are men. Establish the government of Israel, the Masharah Yasha'Allah, which the first person I heard mention that term was Elder Barak of the HODC, in which he's correct, but he's going about it the wrong way. Is being established right now on the planet through the teachings that you see going on, because a government is established upon laws and principles, statutes, and these laws and principles that are being established are the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Bible, which is how to govern properly. It gives you everything that we need to govern properly, right? So this is being established before these nations' faces, and that's why they're getting nervous, and they're doing what they're doing to try to discourage others from getting involved in this and try to disrupt and destroy and break the ministry, because they see it happening, and they onto this the ministry that we're teaching. It was in a problem, even when they were still doing what they did. But now that it's gone global, it is a problem. And it is a problem that they're trying to get away with. That's why they're trying to push legislation, to destroy the freedom of speech. They're trying things to try to different organizations or whatever the case may be, so that they can shut this thing down like they always do with anything that they deem to be beneficial to us and harmful to them. So verse 4, it says, lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons, right, so these nations are going to try to gather against the Lord's people. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side, right, because you're going to have Israelites coming from all the earth. So what Esau says, regardless of what you say, because the Lord's plans are going to be established regardless. You ain't no stopping this. It's already, the cat's out the bag, dude. All right? I'm just going to go straight to the point. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 20. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations upon horses and in chariots and in litters and upon mules. So you're going to have Israelites coming from all walks of life, from all parts of the world, being brought to the kingdom, because the whole world is not going to be destroyed, contrary to popular belief. It's only the whole of America and the land of Israel and whatever parts of the Lord that are going to be hit. But there will still be survivors on earth. There will still be Israelites around the planet that will be being brought to the kingdom of heaven. All right? Because they are that promised seed of Abraham. And upon swift beasts to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Lord, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord, because they will be accepted, because they will be cleansed. And I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Lord. Right, because we will be a nation of priests. All right? Because we won't be teaching each other, we'll be teaching the other nations. For as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. Right? Because remember, one thing that these nations did was they made our name to be no more in remembrance, meaning among ourselves. Because the name Israel still exists, but it just doesn't exist among our people. It existed, but now it's starting to thy son flow together. And this is when there will be unity among all Israel, because we will be righteous. Everybody will be in a right mind frame. Right now is not the time to gather all Israelites together. Right now is the only time to gather the elect, and that's it. It says, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee, the forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee, meaning all of their riches are going to be brought to us. We're going to receive all riches from all nations, everywhere. All right? It's going to be Yahweh kingdom / our kingdom. You know, we always have to give, the honor and praise first to the king, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh. But he's sharing the us. Right? It also says that we shall boast in their riches. It says the multitude of camels shall cover thee, right? Because a kingdom is not complete. A kingdom is not just gold and silver and precious stones. A kingdom is also land. A kingdom is also cattle, different type of cattle. A kingdom is a vegetation, slaves, women, children. It consists of a whole lot more than just riches. It says the multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. And these are different nations, and you also have the Ishmaelite nations that are going to bring their goods to us. All they from Sheba shall come, they shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Why? Because they're going to be giving us all of their substance, which is going to make the word of the Lord to be of effect. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. Right? This is dealing with Ishmaelites. Their flocks are going to come unto us. Right? It says the rams of Nebajoth, which is one of Ishmael's sons, shall minister unto thee. Right? They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Yeah, because there will be sacrifices in the kingdom, but there will not be any sacrifices for sin. There will be no sin offerings in the kingdom of heaven, because we're going to be a nation of righteous, men and women, children. There's not going to be any sacrifices for sins, but there will still be sacrifices. Free will offerings to the Lord, and different other offerings that will go up. You got the Passover, then the new Passover, whatever it will be called. There will be festivities, there will be offerings. The Lord loves the sweet savor, right? It says, they shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are now at jump cuts? Who are these that fly as a cloud and as a dove to their windows? This is dealing with the chariots. So it's speaking about the kingdom, it's speaking about slavery, then all of a sudden it jump cuts to the chariots. Because within the vision of Isaiah, there was a disturbance in that particular vision, jumped to a different part of the vision, but then it came back to the original vision. So as it came back to bring thy sons from far. See? So our sons and our daughters will be brought from far. So the seas are going to be used to navigate and bring forth goods. They're going to bring forth our children from different places of the world. They're going to bring forth riches. They're going to bring forth vegetation. Whatever it is around the world that has any form of value to it, resource-wise, will be being brought to us. It's going to be business as usual, but it's going to be ruled under righteousness. See? People think that when it speaks about the kingdom of heaven, it's talking about the kingdom of heaven being up in the heavens somewhere. You know, where everybody has wings on their back like angels. No. We're going to have spiritual power, but it's going to be on the earth. You know? And that's another misconception of these so-called Christians. The book of Revelation chapter 5 verse 10 says, and has made us unto our power kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. The kingdom of heaven will be on the earth. We are the beginning of the kingdom of heaven, the nation of Israel. And the knowledge that we teach, that is the coupling or the perfect combination for the kingdom of heaven. The Israelites plus the gospel. So going back to Isaiah chapter 60 verse 9, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee, right? So in the glorification of us, we're going to be glorifying the Lord also in the kingdom of heaven. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, because the nations, remember it says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. So they're being prepared for, you know, the reestablishing of our kingdom, because they are their forefathers coming back. Because we know that the father should not pay for the sins of the son, and vice versa. So the only thing that can make any sense of these scriptures like this being fulfilled is reincarnation. All right? And reincarnation is biblical. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. This is the time when the kings and the queens of these nations are going to be bowing down and licking the dust of our feet. Because I was watching a video, little bit of a video prior to doing this lesson. Another video my brother did, where you still have these individuals around different camps that are making Esau bow down to them, and those are not Edomites. Esau is proud. The pride of thine heart has deceived you. They're not going to bow down. They're going to be made to bow down. And even when Yahweh Shai comes back, because they are proud. But here you have on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night. Right, because the kingdom is going to be open for business. It's going to be reestablished. The Lord said he will get us praise and fame, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Right, because not only are their riches coming, they are coming also, because they will bow down. They will be subservient. They will be slaves, servants. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. They will be destroyed. You know, in some cases they will just, you know, not receive, you know, the benefits of rain, you know, to water their lands and their crops, as in the book of Zechariah, chapter 14. And let me go to the verse. I believe that's around the 16th verse. Yeah. It says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Right. They will be keeping the Feast of Tabernacles. Right now, the Feast of Tabernacles is only open to the Israelites. In the kingdom of heaven, these nations will be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and they will also be keeping the high holy days. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So they will not receive any blessing. So no rain equals what? No crops. No fertile ground. But they're not going to be that stupid. But this is just saying that if they don't comply, they're going to be punished. In some cases, depending on the severity of of the rebellion or whatever the case may be, which they're not going to rebel, they will be put to death. That rod of iron is not there for nothing. It's there to establish order. When we went into captivity under them, we were beaten into submission. So you don't think that they will be beaten into submission? We drank of that cup, they're going to drink of it, especially the Edomites. So it says, this shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, right? And that's one of them. But also they will get the scepter across their skull, if they don't act right. Just like in Revelation, the 2nd chapter, where it speaks about that. Matter of fact, let's get there real quick. You can read the rest of this but let's go real quick to Revelation chapter 2. Because there ain't going to be no game playing in the kingdom of heaven. You could bet that. You could bet. Nations that rebel or try to rebel, which they not, but in the case that they do, they will be severely dealt with. Inside joke. Revelation 2:26, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, right? Because Yahweh shall say, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. And once the salvation comes, that's when all of the change comes and all of the benefits and all of the, everything else that comes along with it. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, right? As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So if they get out of line, out of pocket, they're going to give him the morning star. Because Yahweh Shai received it, we're going to receive it. And the morning star represents the full understanding of this truth, this knowledge, and everything that comes with it. We're going to, which he quoted from Isaiah, I have not seen either. There's a great reward, but we just got to wait. So going back to Isaiah chapter 60 now, verse 13, the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, right? Because the kingdom of heaven will also, we're going to have trees, because the trees bring forth oxygen. You have trees for food. You have, in this case, these trees are for kindling, for incense, and different other things of that nature. To burn, fire for the sacrifices and things of that nature. So we're going to have everything. And the earth is going to smell terrific. Like right now, you walk outside, it smells like shit. When the kingdom of heaven is established, you're going to smell pine and flowers and all goodness all throughout the planet. You ain't going to smell no funky ass smell. You're going to see no polluted water. You think you see some of these places on earth that are still not fully corrupted or not fully polluted, and you see the nice clear blue water or green water, and it's so beautiful. You ain't seen nothing yet, Jack. Wait till the kingdom of heaven is established. And once the kingdom of heaven is established, you're going to see real pure water. You're going to be able to certain waters without having to run it through a purifying system. That's real living, when you can walk and you can pluck fruits off of the tree and eat them without having to wash them or be worried that they're contaminated with some other type of, fertilizer that has all kind of chemicals in it. Ain't gonna be none of that bullshit in the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is going to be built up, and guess who's going to build it up? The nations. And I will make the place of my feet glorious, because the Lord is going to renew the face of the whole earth. This is the place of the Most High's feet. Heaven is my footstool. Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. This is when it's going to be time to have the nations bowing down, licking the dust of our feet and all of that. Not now. Because you have that, here it is, you have somebody that you think is an Edomite bow to you at the camp, kiss your feet or lick the dust from your feet, Then all of a sudden, the next day or the day after that, you got to go to work for Esau. So what did that accomplish? What did that accomplish? That ain't accomplish shit, but a goddamn gift. As Elder Apostle Guar just did the video on that. And all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. That's when we get that's when we get our lick back. Not prior to that, because we're still in captivity at the end of the day. It says, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel, right? That's when all the nations are going to acknowledge us. That's when they're going to be like, okay, these are the people of the Lord. These are the blessed of the Lord. And they're going to call us by our rightful names. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Right, so the curses will be lifted off of us, put on Esau and the nations, and we will be glorified, magnified, exalted, brought out of this lower state, out of this outcast state. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, which is a representation of their riches, and shall suck the breasts of kings, also the substance, the resources of these nations. Because remember, they've been gathering, but they're gathering it for us. And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Right, because in that day, there ain't going to be different individuals calling on different names. Jesus and the Christ and the this and the that. No. Everybody's going to be calling on Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. That's it. No more of that fuckery. Hosea 2:16. And it shall be at that day, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which is Ayasha, my husband, and shall call me no more Ba'ali or Ba'alia or Ba'alia, which is my Lord, for I will take away the names of Balaam out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. Right, because the Lord is going to reestablish his name, just like he made his name popular during the time after the deliverance of Egypt. Zechariah 14:9 says that, in that day. So going back to Isaiah chapter 60, verse 17, for brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also, pretty much for inferior metals and wood, the Lord is going to bring more superior metals and precious stones. So brass is not as precious as gold. So for the amount of brass you can get, we're going to get gold. Because it's going to be a kingdom of total opulence. If you don't know what that word means, look it up. I will also make thy officers peace and thine exactors righteousness. Right? Because the rulers, the Israelite rulers of the kingdom are not going to be corrupt. They're going to be righteous. It says, violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. And man, if that is not needed among our nation, all you see when you go through the streets of Israel, the Israelites here in America, all you see is violence and destruction. And anywhere around the world where the true Israelites are, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, you see nothing but destruction and violence. That ain't going to be in the kingdom of heaven. There ain't going to be no drive-by shootings. You ain't going to have Jake hanging on the corner, smoking weed or getting high or whatever the case may be. It ain't going to be none of that. It says, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise, because no nation will ever be able to take us down ever again. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. And this is not talking about the actual sun and the moon. This is talking about other philosophies, because the sun. But the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall be unto thee everlasting light, power, thy glory. Like right now, why cross still go off, because sin is in us. But once the kingdom is established, we're not going to go off anymore. We're going to be totally righteous. That's why in the book of Romans 11 and 26, it says, you know, and all Israel shall be saved in the Lord. Because the Lord Yahweh Shai is coming to remove those transgressions away, which he did 2,000 years ago, but how much more when we're in the kingdom of heaven and changed. It says, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended, right? Because there will be no more crying. There will be no more tears. It says, thy people also shall be all righteous. Every last one of us will be all righteous. There ain't going to be no more, you know, some Jakes trying to live a better life and try to be as good as they can, and others just being as wicked as they want to be. No. Ain't going to be none of that. Thy people shall be all righteous, including the ones that have been super wicked in this world. It says, they shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Because Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to be glorified. Remember, he made a promise to Abraham, and he's not going to go back on his word. And his name is going to be exalted and magnified. And he's going to magnify us and cleanse us so that his name can be magnified even greater, you know? Because he's a man of his word. He keeps his word. He doesn't go back on his word. Not even for his great name's sake. It says, a little one shall become 1,000 and the small one a strong nation, because we're going to multiply tremendously. Inside joke. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. And this is why when we read Isaiah 54 and 1, it says, sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear, break forth into singing and cry aloud, right? Because when you go back into history, Sarah did not bear. But Sarah's son, Isaac, was the one that was going to be most fruitful. You know, because Hagar had Ishmael. Ishmael had sons, but Isaac had Jacob and Esau, and Jacob was going to be the seed of the promise. Their seed is like the sands of the sea, or the stars of heaven, meaning innumerable. That says, thou that didst not travail with child, for more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So it goes on to say, enlarge the place of thy tent. Why enlarge the place of thy tent? Meaning your dwelling place, enlarge it, make it bigger, make it huge, because a little one shall become 1,000, and a strong nation. So we're going to multiply. We're going to need more space. Then, you know, Yahweh Shai spoke about, you know, the planets out there that we're going to be inhabiting. So we're going to spread out. We're going to be many, you know, and that's going to be the final blessing that the Lord gave to Abraham. So enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of thy habitations. Spare not, lengthen and strengthen thy stakes. Right, in other words, the place where you live. For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left, like the Lord said. I, the Lord, will hasten it in this time. Breaking forth meaning you're going to have abundance. When you go to the of Joseph in Deuteronomy 23, it spoke about the bowls. You know, that's talking about sons and the daughters, you know, being, you know, multiplied greatly. So if a man has 1,000 women and he pops those 1,000 women, they can have 1,000 children or more, because they have twins, triplets, or whatever the case may be. So within a matter of a year, you can have one Israelite man that might have 10,000 children. So just imagine that, you know, continuing on. This is why they're going to have to length. You're going to have bigger, more space. That's why that's what the different planets are all about. You know. And somebody had a dream like that years ago about you know, Jake living on other planets. I can't really remember all the details. Salaka, you know, we've been on some heavy demonic, you know, Satan, boy. He's just doing his thing, boy. He just, you know, attacking hard, you know. Just put it to you like that. He's coming down with great wrath. That demon is fucking with brothers hard. So, you know, Salaki, my thoughts are a little jumbled up. It says, enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of thine habitations. Fear not, lengthen thy cords, and strengthen thy stakes. Thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left, and thy seed, because we're going to be established. Fear, for thou shalt again. For thou shalt thine husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the power of the whole earth, shall he be called. And I ended there. I wanted to read another short chapter. As you can see, the feed keeps messing up, from time to time. So the point is made there. It's Isaiah the 60th chapter. This chapter here proves that we will have slaves in the kingdom of heaven, and that the Israelites will rule, not the heathen. After the 1,000-year period, the nations will rule among themselves, but they will still be tributary to us. The only nation that was not promised that are the Edomites, because they will be rounded up, burnt up to a nuclear crisp. All right? So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.